Hello everybody, this is Tony again. In this video I'm going to be covering some of the basic supplies you'll need to assemble and paint your miniatures. Obviously a very important part of wargaming, as your miniatures tend to look very dull, very flat if you don't give them a proper attention and preparation before you actually field them. And I know that some tournaments, and this may change depending on your local game shops, but anyway, big tournaments do not allow for unfinished, when I say unfinished painting on the models. Okay, so there's what they call a tabletop standard that you usually go by for determining the quality that you need to have in terms of a paint job to actually field the miniatures and play with them. So generally speaking, you probably at least want to get your miniatures up to that standard so that you never have to worry about having to go back and retouch them up. So let's just go ahead and dive right into the supplies, and maybe in another video where we actually get into painting and stuff, we can talk about the tabletop standard. But anyway, so here are the basic supplies. So some of the first things you'll need, obviously, are to assemble your miniatures. They come on either different kinds of sprue, which are plastic, basically wire-like mesh that will hold in your miniature parts and pieces. So once you're done clipping them out, you can use either a small pair of clippers like these to clip the parts and pieces out of the area. You can use your fingers if it's a larger scale model and it won't break very easy, or if you have to get in for a very close cut, you can always use a scalpel-like utensil to make the finer incisions to get the pieces out, because sometimes it will be very small detailed pieces that could very easily break. So once you've got them off of the sprue and you've cleaned them up a little bit to where you have all of the flashing and all of the the bumps that are not supposed to be on the model have been cleared off, what you'll do then is you'll use some kind of adhesive, probably going to be some kind of super glue. This is a generic super glue. I believe this is a Gorilla Glue super glue. But you can use any brand you like. Until you get into more contract style painting and commissioning for assembly, for the most part, it's really not going to matter what kind of glue you use on your models, as long as you use some caution with whatever it is that you're putting together and assembling. So we'll cover that in a later video, and actually how to assemble models, but super glue is something you're going to want, some kind of adhesive. So we've also covered clippers. Now for some games, including Hordes and War Machine, which we're going to be covering coming up in a video very soon, these clippers are very useful for clipping off, as I had mentioned, flashing. Most of the War Machine and Hordes models, if not all of them, are pewter, which is basically a very soft metallic substance, if you will. That they basically form a shell with a mold and then fill it with a pewter substance, and then they will clip it out. So from the high pressure, you'll have these flashings that are stuck on there. They're basically pewter offshoots that really do need to be clipped off because they do not belong to the model. So if you don't want to spend a lot of time filing down your units, you can clip these down and then just file down the ends with some kind of file to smooth it out. Okay, so once you're done doing that and you're finished clipping out the models from your sprue using some kind of clippers or a scalpel of some sort, the next thing you'll need is to paint them. Now the basic thing you'll need is some form of paint. This is just the Citadel paints. These are by Games Workshop. There's also P3, which is by the Privateer Press, and there is Reaper paints, and those are probably going to be the three most popular paints you're looking at in terms of the acrylics and stuff. And yes, there is a difference between three paints. I won't have time to cover in this video, but there is a difference. So, but it really comes down to painting style before you really truly care. And again, most of that you won't necessarily care about unless you're doing commission painting. So get yourself some paint. Whatever colors you're going to use, get those. Then what I recommend is that you get some form of painting brush that you don't mind destroying. Some cheap little brush that you do not mind the bristles getting all frayed and messed up because you're just beginning to learn how to use use a paintbrush and work with the brush and clean it properly. So get something cheap to begin with. Then once you're used to the actual mechanics on how to clean and use a brush, you can switch over to official brushes that are a little bit more high quality and obviously therefore more expensive. So this is an actual Games Workshop brush. This is just a generic one from a hobby shop. So that being said, that's your basic supplies that you'll need, and if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message, post something on the wall, or send a comment down below, as well as subscribe, and we'll see you in another video.